Welcome to Coins Home. Today, we're diving into the world of one of America's most iconic coins, the Lincoln 1-cent penny. These humble copper coins have been in circulation for over a century, but hidden among them are a select few so rare and valuable that collectors pay millions of dollars to own them. From dramatic mint errors to tiny production quirks, these pennies are the holy grails of numismatics. Backhand index pointing right. In this video, we count down the top 10 most valuable Lincoln pennies, their stories, why they're worth so much, and the jaw-dropping prices they've fetched at auction. So grab your magnifying glass and roll those pennies. You never know what treasure might be hiding in your pocket. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating modern-era coins ever produced by the United States of America, the 1982 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks just like countless other pennies that pass through our hands every day. But hidden within its metal, its history, and its unique place in American coinage is a story that continues to excite collectors, historians, and everyday people searching their spare change. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has always been more than just a coin. Since its first release in the early 20th century, it has symbolized American values, honoring President Abraham Lincoln, a man whose legacy shaped the nation forever. By the time the 1982 penny was struck, the Lincoln cent had already become the most recognized coin in the country. Yet this particular year marked a turning point, making it one of the most discussed and examined pennies in modern numismatics. During the early 1980s, the United States faced rising metal costs, especially copper. Producing pennies from mostly copper was becoming increasingly expensive, and the government had to make critical decisions to keep coin production economical. As a result, the 1982 Lincoln cent became a year of transition. Different compositions were struck, and subtle differences emerged that would later drive collectors into a frenzy of examination and comparison. The D-Mint Mark version, produced at the Denver Mint, holds a special place within this story. The Denver Mint has long been known for producing high-quality coinage with strong strikes and consistent detail. When the 1982 D-Mint Mark Lincoln penny rolled off the presses, it carried that tradition forward. The familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front appeared strong and dignified, with clear lines in the hair, face, and coat. The reverse still featured the Lincoln Memorial, an iconic design that had been used for decades, symbolizing respect, remembrance, and national pride. What makes this penny so intriguing is not just how it looks, but what it represents. It stands at the crossroads of old and new, marking the moment when the United States began moving away from traditional copper-heavy pennies toward more cost-effective materials. Collectors today see the 1982 D-Mint Mark penny as a historical marker, a coin that tells the story of economic pressures, changing technology, and the evolution of American money. For coin enthusiasts, condition is everything. A Lincoln cent that has spent decades circulating in pockets, cash registers, and jars will naturally show wear. However, examples that were carefully preserved or barely circulated can display remarkable detail. Sharp lettering, smooth surfaces, and minimal discoloration can dramatically enhance a coin's appeal. When collectors examine a 1982 D penny, they look closely at Lincoln's facial features, the clarity of the mint mark, and the overall strike quality. Even small differences can set one coin apart from another. Another reason this penny continues to generate excitement is the sheer curiosity it sparks among everyday people. Many individuals do not realize that coins from the late 20th century can hold real collector interest. People often assume only ancient or very old coins are valuable, overlooking pieces minted within their own lifetimes. The 1982 D Lincoln cent challenges that assumption, reminding us that value is not just about age, but about rarity, demand, and historical significance. Collectors often talk about the thrill of discovery, and this penny delivers that thrill in a unique way. Searching through rolls of coins or inherited collections, hoping to find a standout example, creates a sense of adventure. Each penny examined carries the possibility of being something special. This emotional connection is part of what drives the coin collecting hobby forward and keeps interest alive year after year. The design of the Lincoln cent itself adds to its enduring appeal. Abraham Lincoln's portrait is one of the longest-running designs in American coinage history. His calm yet determined expression connects generations, serving as a daily reminder of leadership and perseverance. On the 1982 D penny, that portrait feels especially meaningful, as it bridges traditional craftsmanship with modern production changes. Over time, market interest in certain modern coins has grown steadily. As more people become educated about coin varieties and transitional years, demand increases. The 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny benefits from this growing awareness. It is often discussed in collector circles, featured in videos, articles, and forums where enthusiasts share knowledge and experiences. This shared curiosity fuels ongoing interest and keeps the coin relevant. Another fascinating aspect of this penny is how it reflects the broader story of American economics. Rising material costs forced innovation and adaptation, and the humble penny became a symbol of that shift. Holding this coin is like holding a small chapter of economic history, one that shows how even the smallest denominations are affected by global trends and national decisions. For new collectors, the 1982 D Lincoln cent can serve as a gateway into the hobby. It encourages learning, observation, and patience. Examining details, understanding mint marks, and appreciating historical context all build skills that apply to collecting many other coins. Experienced collectors, on the other hand, appreciate this penny for its place in a complex and transitional year, making it a meaningful addition to a broader collection. The emotional value of coin collecting should never be underestimated. Coins connect us to the past, to moments we did not live through but can still touch and examine. The 1982 D penny may seem ordinary at first, but once you understand its background, it becomes something entirely different. It transforms from spare change into a conversation piece, a teaching tool, and a symbol of change. As interest in numismatics continues to grow through online communities and video platforms, coins like this one gain new audiences. People around the world are discovering that American coins tell stories far beyond their face value. The 1982 D mint mark Lincoln penny stands proudly among those stories, offering depth, intrigue, and lasting appeal. So the next time you come across a Lincoln cent, take a closer look. Notice the mint mark, the details, and the year. You might be holding more than just a penny. You might be holding a small but powerful piece of American history that collectors continue to admire and discuss. And when we talk about what this remarkable coin has achieved in the collector market, its story reaches a memorable conclusion with a value that has been recorded at $4,837. Imagine reaching into your pocket, feeling the familiar ridged edge of a penny, and never once considering that this tiny copper-colored coin might carry a story far richer than its face value. Today's story is about one of those everyday coins that almost everyone has seen, spent, or ignored without a second thought. The United States of America 1988 no mint mark Lincoln 1 cent penny is often overlooked, dismissed as common, and forgotten at the bottom of jars and drawers. Yet behind its simple appearance lies history, craftsmanship, subtle details, and a value story that continues to surprise collectors and everyday people alike. The Lincoln 1 cent penny has always been more than spare change. Since its introduction in 1909, it has symbolized American heritage, honoring Abraham Lincoln, one of the nation's most respected presidents. By 1988, the penny was already a deeply familiar part of American life. Millions were minted, circulated through gas stations, grocery stores, school cafeterias, and payphones. It was the kind of coin you would receive as change and immediately pass along without looking twice. But that familiarity is exactly what makes certain examples so fascinating today. The 1988 Lincoln cent without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from this mint traditionally carry no mint mark, a detail that often confuses new collectors. Many people assume that a missing mint mark must be a mistake, but in this case, it is entirely intentional. Philadelphia pennies from this era were struck without a letter, setting them apart from their Denver and San Francisco counterparts. This small absence, however, plays a large role in identifying and understanding the coin's origin. At first glance, the design appears straightforward. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces to the right, strong and dignified. The familiar inscriptions appear around him, with the nation's motto and the date that anchors the coin in time. The reverse features the Lincoln Memorial, a design that defined generations of pennies. This design was nearing the end of its long run in 1988, as changes would soon follow in later years. That alone gives this coin a special place in the timeline of American coinage. What truly makes the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny interesting is not just its age or design, but the era in which it was produced. This was a transitional period for the cent. Earlier pennies were made mostly of copper, but by the 1980s, rising metal costs forced the United States Mint to change composition. The 1988 penny is primarily zinc with a thin copper coating, making it lighter than older copper cents. This change affected how the coins wore over time and how they appear today in different conditions. Condition is everything when it comes to coin value. A circulated 1988 penny, one that has passed through countless hands, will usually show scratches, dull surfaces, and softened details. These coins are extremely common and often worth only face value. However, coins that escape circulation tell a completely different story. Uncirculated examples, especially those preserved with sharp details, original luster, and clean surfaces, are far more desirable. These are the coins collectors search for, the ones that elevate an ordinary penny into something remarkable. Collectors pay close attention to strike quality. The 1988 no-mint mark penny can show variation in how strongly the design elements were impressed into the metal. Well-struck coins display crisp lettering, clear lines in Lincoln's hair, and a sharp, detailed Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Weaker strikes, on the other hand, appear flat or blurry in certain areas. Finding a strong strike in pristine condition is one of the key factors that can dramatically increase a coin's worth. Another important aspect is surface quality. Because these pennies are copper-plated zinc, they are more vulnerable to damage if the copper layer is compromised. Once the zinc core is exposed, corrosion can set in quickly. Coins that have survived decades without bubbling, peeling, or spotting are increasingly scarce. That survival adds to their appeal, especially when paired with bright original color and minimal contact marks. Errors and varieties also play a role in the fascination surrounding the 1988 penny. While major errors are rare, collectors are always examining these coins closely for doubling, misalignment, or unusual die characteristics. Even minor anomalies can spark interest, especially when confirmed by professional grading services. The thrill of discovery is part of what keeps collectors returning to rolls of pennies, hoping to uncover something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. The historical context of 1988 also adds subtle depth. This was a time of change in the United States, with shifting technology, evolving culture, and economic adjustments. The humble penny moved silently through all of it, unchanged in appearance yet deeply woven into everyday transactions. Holding a 1988 Lincoln cent is like holding a small piece of that era, a tangible reminder of daily life more than 3 decades ago. For collectors, the joy is not only in value but in preservation. Encapsulating a high-quality 1988 no-mint mark penny in a protective holder ensures that its condition remains stable for future generations. Professional grading can further authenticate and rank the coin, assigning it a grade that reflects its state of preservation. High-grade examples are significantly rarer than most people realize, because so few pennies were ever saved with care at the time of release. Many people underestimate modern coins, assuming that only ancient or very old pieces can be valuable. The 1988 Lincoln cent challenges that assumption. While millions were produced, only a small fraction remain in top-tier condition today. Time, handling, and neglect have taken their toll. As collectors compete for the best surviving examples, demand increases, and with it value. There is also a psychological aspect to collecting coins like this. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could be worth far more than its face value is deeply appealing. It turns everyday objects into hidden treasures and encourages people to look closer at the world around them. That sense of possibility is one of the reasons coin collecting has endured for generations. Searching for a 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is easy. They still appear in circulation, tucked away in old jars, rolls, and collections inherited from family members. The challenge lies in finding one that truly stands out. When you do, the reward is not just financial but also emotional. You have identified and preserved a piece of history that others overlooked. Over time, appreciation for well-preserved modern coins continues to grow. As fewer pristine examples remain, their desirability strengthens. The 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln cent, once considered ordinary, has steadily gained recognition among collectors who understand the importance of condition, rarity within quality, and historical context. So the next time you come across a simple penny dated 1988, pause before dismissing it. Examine its surfaces, its shine, its details. Consider where it has been and how it has survived. That small moment of attention can transform an everyday coin into a fascinating collectible, one that tells a story far larger than its size suggests. In the end, the value of the United States of America 1988 no-mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, when found in exceptional condition and recognized for what it truly is, can reach an impressive figure of $14,998. The humble Lincoln 1-cent penny has passed through millions of hands, rattled inside countless pockets, and rested unnoticed in jars and drawers across the United States. Yet every so often, a single ordinary-looking coin rises above the rest and captures the imagination of collectors everywhere. Today's story focuses on one such piece, a coin that most people would never think twice about, the United States of America 1989 D-Mint Mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance it seems simple, familiar, and almost forgettable. But as you will soon discover, this small copper-plated coin carries a story of history, craftsmanship, and surprising value that continues to excite collectors and everyday coin hunters alike. The year 1989 was a time of transition and momentum in American history. The Cold War was nearing its dramatic conclusion, technology was rapidly evolving, and the United States Mint was producing billions of coins to meet the demands of a growing economy. Among these coins was the Lincoln 1-cent penny struck at the Denver Mint, proudly marked with the small but important letter D beneath the date. This tiny mint mark is more than a letter, it is a signature, a quiet stamp that tells us where the coin was born and hints at the journey it would take over decades of circulation. By 1989, the Lincoln penny had already undergone significant changes compared to its earlier ancestors. The coin no longer carried the heavy bronze composition of earlier decades. Instead, it was struck on a core of zinc with a thin copper plating, a decision made to reduce production costs while preserving the familiar appearance Americans recognized. Despite this change, the design remained iconic. Abraham Lincoln's dignified profile, originally crafted by Victor David Brenner, still gazed steadily to the right, symbolizing unity, leadership, and endurance. The Denver Mint was one of the busiest mints in the country, producing massive quantities of cents each year. The 1989 D. Lincoln penny was struck in enormous numbers, intended for daily use in commerce. It bought newspapers, candy bars, and cups of coffee, often exchanged without a second thought. Because of this high mintage, many people assume that these coins are automatically common and worthless. But as seasoned collectors know, rarity is not always about how many coins were made. Condition, errors, and preservation play a powerful role in determining value. What truly sets a collectible coin apart is not just its age, but how well it has survived the passage of time. Most 1989 D pennies were heavily circulated, scratched, discolored, and worn down through years of use. Finding one today in exceptional condition is far more challenging than most people realize. Coins that somehow escape circulation, remaining sharp, clean, and nearly flawless, stand out dramatically when examined under magnification. Every detail matters, from the crispness of Lincoln's hair to the sharpness of the lettering and the clarity of the memorial on the reverse. The reverse design of the Lincoln penny during this era featured the Lincoln Memorial, a powerful symbol of American heritage. On a well-preserved 1989 D cent, the steps of the memorial appear strong and defined, and the inscriptions remain bold and clear. Even the smallest signs of wear can significantly impact desirability, which is why collectors are willing to pay premiums for coins that appear as though they were struck yesterday. Beyond condition, subtle minting characteristics can elevate a coin from ordinary to extraordinary. The striking process at the Denver Mint involved immense pressure and precision. Occasionally, small variations occurred, creating coins with sharper strikes, richer luster, or distinctive visual appeal. These characteristics may go unnoticed by the casual observer, but experienced collectors and grading experts recognize them instantly. A coin with vibrant original luster and perfectly centered details can command attention in any collection. Another factor that adds intrigue to the 1989 Lincoln penny is its place within the modern era of coin collecting. Many collectors today focus not only on ancient or 19th century coins, but also on modern issues that showcase exceptional quality. High-grade modern pennies are notoriously difficult to find because they were rarely saved at the time of issue. Most people did not think to preserve rolls of pennies from the late 20th century, making top-condition examples surprisingly scarce. Professional grading has transformed the way collectors view coins like the 1989 cent. When a coin is examined, authenticated, and graded by a respected third-party service, it gains credibility and recognition in the marketplace. A high grade confirms that the coin has survived with minimal imperfections, elevating it far above the countless worn examples still in circulation. This process has revealed that some modern pennies, once dismissed as insignificant, can achieve remarkable status when preserved in exceptional condition. For coin enthusiasts, the thrill often lies in the hunt. The idea that a valuable coin could be hiding in plain sight is what keeps people searching through pocket change, bank rolls, and old collections. The 1989 Lincoln penny represents that sense of possibility. It reminds us that history is not always locked away in museums or vaults. Sometimes, it is hiding in everyday objects, waiting for someone curious enough to look closer. Collectors are drawn to stories, and every coin tells one. This penny speaks of American industry, of mass production balanced with artistry, and of the nation moving forward while honoring its past. It also tells a more personal story, one of chance and awareness. Someone, somewhere, recognized the importance of preservation and protected a pristine example from the wear and tear of daily life. That single decision transformed an ordinary cent into a remarkable collectible. As interest in coin collecting continues to grow, modern coins with standout quality are gaining increased attention. The market rewards scarcity, condition, and authenticity, and the 1989 Lincoln penny checks all the right boxes when found in top-tier condition. It challenges the assumption that only ancient or gold coins hold significant worth. Instead, it proves that even the smallest denomination can achieve impressive recognition. For viewers watching this video, the message is clear. Never underestimate the coins you already have. Take the time to examine them, learn their history, and understand what makes one example different from another. The Lincoln penny has been part of American life for generations, and its story is still being written through discoveries made by everyday people. As we come to the end of this journey into the world of the 1989 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, remember that knowledge is the true key to value. Awareness transforms curiosity into opportunity, and opportunity into reward. A coin that once passed unnoticed across a counter can, under the right circumstances, stand proudly among prized collectibles. And when preserved at the highest level, this unassuming penny has been known to reach a value of $13,646. Imagine holding a simple copper-colored penny in your hand, one that looks almost identical to thousands of others you've spent without a second thought. It may have rested for years in a jar, a drawer, or even your pocket, quietly waiting for someone to look a little closer. Today, we're diving deep into one such coin that many people overlook every day, the United States of America 1991 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark. This ordinary-looking cent carries a fascinating story of history, craftsmanship, rarity, and hidden value that can truly surprise collectors and everyday people alike. The Lincoln 1-cent penny is one of the most iconic coins ever produced in the United States. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure rather than a symbolic design. By the time 1991 arrived, the Lincoln cent had already been a familiar part of American life for more than 8 decades, passing through countless hands, businesses, and generations. In 1991, the obverse of the penny still proudly displayed the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, a design originally created by Victor David Brenner. Lincoln's calm yet determined expression symbolizes unity, strength, and perseverance, values deeply connected to American history. Above his head, the word liberty stands as a timeless reminder of the nation's foundation, while the phrase "I in God we trust" arches across the top. The date 1991 sits clearly beside Lincoln's profile, marking the year this coin entered circulation. Now let's talk about something that often confuses new collectors: the absence of a mint mark. When a 1991 Lincoln penny has no mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. For many years, Philadelphia-produced pennies did not include a mint mark, which makes the "no mint mark" feature completely normal. However, normal does not always mean unimportant. In fact, coins from Philadelphia often play a major role in the collector market, especially when they show exceptional condition or rare errors. Turning the coin over, you'll see the familiar Lincoln Memorial design, which was used on the reverse of the penny from 1959 until 2008. The Lincoln Memorial stands tall and detailed, with the statue of Lincoln visible between the columns, a small detail that many people don't notice unless they look closely. The words United States of America curve along the top, E pluribus unum rests above the memorial, and 1 cent is boldly displayed at the bottom. This design connects the coin directly to American heritage, architecture, and respect for leadership. In 1991, Lincoln pennies were primarily composed of zinc with a thin copper plating. This change in composition began in 1982 as a cost-saving measure, but it didn't take away from the coin's visual appeal. The copper-colored surface still gives the penny its classic look, though careful collectors know that the core is different from older, solid copper cents. This detail matters because condition plays a huge role in determining a coin's worth. Most 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln pennies you'll find today are only worth face value. They've been heavily circulated, scratched, dulled, and worn down by decades of use. But the story changes dramatically when we talk about high-grade examples. Coins that were carefully preserved, never heavily handled, or pulled directly from original rolls can display sharp details, bright luster, and minimal imperfections. These are the kinds of coins that attract serious attention from collectors and grading services. Coin grading is a crucial factor in value. Professional grading companies examine a coin under magnification, evaluating everything from surface marks and luster to strike quality and overall eye appeal. A 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny in extremely high mint state condition can be surprisingly rare. While millions were produced, very few survived in flawless or near-flawless condition. That scarcity at the top levels of quality is what drives collector demand and pushes values higher. Another aspect that makes this coin exciting is the possibility of mint errors and varieties. Error coins are mistakes that occurred during the minting process, such as off-center strikes, doubled dies, planchet issues, or weak strikes. While not every 1991 penny has these features, the ones that do can be incredibly desirable. Collectors often spend hours searching rolls of pennies, hoping to discover something unusual that others have missed. The 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny also represents a specific moment in American history. The early 1990s were a time of change, both technologically and culturally. These pennies circulated during a period when cash transactions were still dominant, long before digital payments became common. Each coin has its own journey, passing through countless hands, stores, and communities, silently witnessing everyday life in America. For new collectors, this penny is an excellent starting point. It's affordable to search for, easy to identify, and widely available. At the same time, it offers the thrill of the hunt. You never know when you might come across a pristine example or a rare error hiding among ordinary change. That sense of discovery is what keeps collectors passionate year after year. Even experienced collectors respect coins like the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. It proves that value isn't always about age alone. Condition, rarity within condition, demand, and historical significance all work together to determine worth. A coin doesn't have to be over a century old to command attention. Sometimes, a relatively modern penny can tell a powerful story and carry unexpected value. If you have jars of pennies at home, this is your sign to take a closer look. Examine the dates, check for mint marks, and look carefully at the condition. Use a magnifying glass if possible, and compare what you see with high-quality reference images. You might be holding something far more interesting than you ever imagined. The beauty of coin collecting lies in these small details. A single cent, often ignored, can become a symbol of history, craftsmanship, and hidden potential. The 1991 Lincoln 1-cent penny with no mint mark reminds us that treasures don't always look flashy. Sometimes, they blend in perfectly, waiting patiently for someone curious enough to notice. As we bring this story to a close, remember that the true value of a coin goes beyond money. It's about history, discovery, and the excitement of learning something new from an object you may have held your entire life. And for those fortunate enough to find a top-condition example of this specific penny, its remarkable worth has been known to reach as high as $6,948. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple copper-colored penny, and never suspecting that it carries a story far bigger than its face value. Today's journey takes us deep into the fascinating world of American coinage, focusing on one humble yet mysterious coin that millions of people have seen, spent, and ignored without a second thought. The United States of America 1992 no mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but the deeper you look, the more captivating its story becomes. The early 1990s were a time of change in America. The Cold War had recently ended, technology was rapidly evolving, and everyday life was shifting in subtle ways. Yet even as the world changed, one constant remained in every pocket, purse, and cash register across the country: the Lincoln penny. By 1992, this iconic coin had already been part of American life for over 8 decades, honoring the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, one of the nation's most respected presidents. The Lincoln 1-cent coin has always been more than just small change. It represents history, resilience, and continuity. The 1992 penny carries that same spirit. Struck during a year when billions of cents were produced, it might seem impossible that any example could stand out. But coin collecting has always been about the details, and in the world of numismatics, details change everything. The no mint mark version of the 1992 Lincoln penny was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins from this mint traditionally do not carry a mint mark, which often leads casual observers to overlook them. Many people assume that coins without a mint mark are common and uninteresting. However, experienced collectors know that this assumption can be costly. Within these vast production numbers, subtle differences, conditions, and rare characteristics can dramatically affect a coin's desirability. When you hold a 1992 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the first thing you notice is its familiar design. On the front, Abraham Lincoln's profile faces right, strong and dignified. His expression reflects resolve and quiet confidence, a reminder of leadership during America's most challenging times. The date 1992 appears clearly, along with the word liberty and the famous phrase "In God We Trust." This design, created by Victor David Brenner, has become one of the most recognizable images in the history of world coinage. Turning the coin over reveals the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that had been in use since 1959. The memorial's columns are carefully detailed, and if you look closely enough, you can even see a tiny representation of Lincoln seated inside. This level of craftsmanship is one of the reasons collectors continue to admire these pennies decades later. Even on a coin meant for everyday use, artistry and precision were never ignored. Now let's talk about what truly makes the 1992 no mint mark penny interesting to collectors. The first factor is condition. Most pennies from this era circulated heavily. They were dropped on sidewalks, stored in jars, and passed through countless hands. Finding one today in pristine condition is far more difficult than you might expect. Coins that retain their original luster, sharp details, and minimal marks immediately stand out in the collector market. Another important factor is strike quality. Not all coins are struck equally, even within the same year and mint. Some pennies show stronger details in Lincoln's hair, beard, and coat, while others appear softer or less defined. Collectors carefully examine these differences, searching for examples that show exceptional clarity. A well-struck coin can be significantly more appealing than an average one. Errors and unusual characteristics also add excitement to the 1992 penny. Throughout history, the minting process has occasionally produced coins with fascinating mistakes. These can include off-center strikes, double details, unusual surface textures, or other anomalies that occurred during production. While most 1992 pennies are standard, the discovery of a unique error can instantly transform an overlooked coin into a prized collectible. The metal composition of the 1992 penny also plays a role in its story. By this time, pennies were primarily made of zinc with a thin copper coating, a change introduced in the early 1980s to reduce costs. This shift means that many pennies from this era are vulnerable to environmental damage. Coins that have survived decades without corrosion, peeling, or discoloration are especially desirable to collectors who value originality and preservation. Historical context adds another layer of fascination. The 1992 penny was minted during a period when America was redefining itself. The economy was evolving, new technologies were emerging, and cultural shifts were shaping the future. Every coin from that year is a small time capsule, a physical reminder of transactions made during a specific moment in history. When collectors hold a coin like this, they are not just holding metal, they are holding a tangible link to the past. For beginners entering the world of coin collecting, the 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln penny offers an accessible starting point. It is a coin many people already own, making the hunt personal and exciting. Searching through old jars, inherited collections, or pocket change can suddenly feel like a treasure hunt. Each penny examined brings anticipation, the possibility that this one might be special. Seasoned collectors, on the other hand, appreciate the challenge this coin presents. Finding an example that meets strict grading standards requires patience, knowledge, and a trained eye. The pursuit itself becomes rewarding, turning an ordinary coin into a symbol of dedication and expertise. Grading plays a crucial role in determining a coin's worth. Professional grading services evaluate coins based on factors like surface preservation, strike quality, and overall appearance. A 1992 penny that achieves a high grade is far more scarce than its original mintage numbers would suggest. This scarcity, driven by condition rather than quantity, is what fuels collector interest and market demand. Another reason this coin captures attention is nostalgia. Many people remember the early 1990s vividly. The music, the fashion, the television shows, and the everyday experiences of that era are closely tied to these small copper coins. Collecting becomes a way to reconnect with personal memories, making the hobby emotionally rewarding as well as financially interesting. It is also worth noting that the coin market is driven by stories. Coins that have a narrative, whether tied to history, rarity, or discovery, tend to attract more interest. The 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln penny story is one of quiet potential. It does not announce its value loudly. Instead, it rewards those who take the time to look closely, learn, and appreciate the finer details. As you explore your own collection or start searching for this coin, remember that knowledge is your most powerful tool. Understanding what to look for, how to handle coins properly, and how to recognize quality can make all the difference. Even if you never plan to sell, the satisfaction of identifying a noteworthy coin is a reward in itself. In the end, the 1992 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny reminds us that value is not always obvious. Sometimes, it hides in plain sight, waiting for someone curious enough to notice. A small coin, often dismissed as insignificant, can carry surprising worth when history, condition, and collector interest come together. And when all these elements align, this unassuming penny has been known to reach a remarkable value of $7,777. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out an ordinary-looking penny, and realizing it might carry a story far richer than its small copper surface suggests. Today's journey is all about a coin most people overlook every single day, the United States of America 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it seems like just another modern cent, something you might toss into a jar or leave forgotten in your car cup holder. But beneath that familiar face of Abraham Lincoln lies a fascinating blend of history, production details, collector interest, and hidden potential that makes this coin far more interesting than many people realize. The Lincoln 1 cent has been part of American life for more than a century, and by the time 1998 arrived, it was already deeply woven into the daily routines of millions of people. The year itself was a time of rapid change in the United States. Technology was advancing, the internet was becoming more common in households, and yet the humble penny remained unchanged in its role. It passed quietly from hand to hand, witnessing history without ever drawing attention to itself. The 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent was struck in Philadelphia, which traditionally does not place a mint mark on its coins. That absence of a letter is exactly what identifies it as a Philadelphia issue, and for collectors, that small detail matters a great deal. Design-wise, this coin carries the classic Lincoln portrait that has become one of the most recognizable images in American numismatics. Abraham Lincoln's profile, dignified and calm, faces to the right, just as it has since the early 20th century. By 1998, the portrait had already been refined and adjusted over decades, giving it a sharper, more modern look compared to earlier versions. On the reverse side, the Lincoln Memorial stands proudly, a symbol of national unity and remembrance. Tiny details like the steps of the memorial and the faint statue of Lincoln inside add depth and artistry that many people never notice unless they take a closer look. What truly makes the 1998 no-mint mark penny interesting is not just how it looks, but how it was made. During the late 1990s, pennies were primarily composed of zinc with a thin copper coating. This change from solid copper, which happened earlier in the decade, affected weight, sound, and even long-term durability. Some collectors prefer earlier copper cents, but others are fascinated by these transitional-era coins because they represent a shift in American coinage driven by rising metal costs and economic considerations. Condition plays a massive role in determining the value and appeal of this penny. While millions were minted and circulated widely, finding one in exceptional condition is far less common than most people think. Coins that spent years bouncing around in pockets, registers, and jars often show scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details. However, a 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent that has been carefully preserved, never circulated, or protected in a collection can display sharp lines, bright surfaces, and full design details. These qualities dramatically increase interest among collectors. Collectors also pay close attention to striking quality. Some 1998 cents show stronger details than others, depending on the condition of the dies used at the mint. A well-struck coin with clear lettering, crisp Lincoln features, and a detailed Lincoln memorial can stand out even among other uncirculated examples. Subtle differences like luster, color tone, and surface smoothness often separate an average coin from one that excites serious collectors. Another layer of fascination comes from errors and variations. While the standard 1998 no-mint mark penny is already interesting, collectors are always on the lookout for unusual examples. Minor die cracks, off-center strikes, doubled features, or unusual surface textures can all add intrigue. Even small imperfections created during the minting process can turn an otherwise common penny into a conversation piece. This sense of discovery keeps collectors examining coins carefully, often with magnifying glasses and good lighting, searching for something special. The emotional side of coin collecting should not be overlooked either. For many people, pennies like this one are tied to memories. Maybe it was the year you graduated, started a new job, or experienced an important moment in your life. Holding a coin from that year can feel like holding a tiny piece of personal history. That emotional connection, combined with historical significance, is part of what keeps the hobby alive and thriving. From an educational standpoint, the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how everyday objects can teach us about economics, manufacturing, and history. It tells a story about cost-saving measures, mass production, and the balance between tradition and change. Schools, parents, and hobbyists often use coins like this to introduce younger generations to the idea that history is not just found in books or museums, but also in the small items we handle every day. The market for modern Lincoln cents has grown steadily over the years. While many people assume only very old coins are valuable, experienced collectors know that condition, rarity, and demand matter far more than age alone. As time passes, high-quality examples of late 20th century coins become harder to find because fewer people thought to save them in pristine condition. This gradual scarcity fuels interest and competition among collectors who want the best examples for their collections. Another interesting aspect is grading. Professional coin grading services evaluate coins based on strict standards, assigning grades that reflect condition and preservation. A 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln cent that achieves a high grade can stand out dramatically compared to ungraded or lower-grade examples. The difference between an average coin and a top-grade coin can be stunning, both visually and in terms of collector interest. For those new to coin collecting, this penny serves as a reminder that you do not need to start with rare gold coins or ancient artifacts. Sometimes, the most exciting finds begin with everyday change. The thrill of discovery, the joy of learning, and the possibility of uncovering something special are all part of the experience. Carefully checking your coins, understanding what details to look for, and appreciating the craftsmanship involved can turn a simple hobby into a lifelong passion. As we reflect on the 1998 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, it becomes clear that its value goes far beyond face value. It represents a moment in American history, a shift in coin production, and an opportunity for collectors to appreciate the finer details of modern coinage. Whether you are a seasoned collector or someone just starting to look more closely at your change, this coin invites curiosity and respect. And now, after exploring its history, design, production, and collector appeal, we come to the part everyone is curious about. In the world of collectors, a top-quality example of this coin has been associated with a value reaching as high as $8,476. The moment you hear the soft clink of a penny dropping into your hand, you probably think of small change, something ordinary, something easily forgotten. Yet history has a strange way of hiding value in the most common places. Today, we are diving deep into one of the most familiar coins ever produced in the United States, the 2005 mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than everyday pocket change. But behind its copper-plated surface lies a story of American history, modern minting, hidden details, and surprising worth that can turn an overlooked coin into something truly fascinating. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has been part of American life for over a century. By the time the year 2005 arrived, the Lincoln cent was already an icon, a coin that had passed through countless hands, pockets, and cash registers. The design itself carries a legacy that goes all the way back to 1909, when Abraham Lincoln first appeared on U.S. coinage. His portrait symbolized unity, perseverance, and national pride, values that continued to resonate even in the modern era. The 2005 penny was struck during a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of cents each year. This was a period of rapid transactions, vending machines, retail growth, and everyday cash usage. The Denver Mint, identified by the small D mint mark just below the date on the coin, played a major role in this massive production. Millions upon millions of pennies rolled off the presses in Denver, each one designed to meet strict standards of weight, diameter, and composition. Even though this penny belongs to the modern era, it still carries the traditional Lincoln portrait on the front. Lincoln faces right, his expression calm and dignified. The words "In God We Trust" appear above his head, while liberty rests to the left, and the date sits neatly to the right, accompanied by the D mint mark. These details may seem routine, but to collectors, every letter, every line, and every tiny space can matter. Turning the coin over reveals the familiar Lincoln memorial on the back. This reverse design was used for decades, showing the famous monument in Washington, D.C. What makes this design especially interesting is that Lincoln himself can be seen seated inside the memorial, a subtle but powerful detail. It is one of the few U.S. coins where the same historical figure appears on both sides. For collectors, the clarity of the steps, the pillars, and the tiny seated Lincoln can greatly affect the coin's desirability. The composition of the 2005 Lincoln cent is another key point. Unlike older pennies made mostly of copper, this modern cent is primarily zinc with a thin copper plating. This change, introduced in the early 1980s, helped the mint reduce costs while maintaining the traditional look of the penny. Despite being lighter and less copper-rich than earlier issues, these coins still require precision manufacturing to ensure durability and consistency. Now, here is where things become truly interesting. While millions of 2005D pennies were produced, not all of them are created equal. The value of this coin is not simply about its year or mint mark. It is about condition, rarity within the population, and sometimes small minting anomalies that escaped quality control. A coin that looks average after years of circulation may be worth only face value, but one preserved in exceptional condition can tell a very different story. Collectors pay close attention to surface quality. A high-grade example will show sharp details in Lincoln's hair, clean lettering, and minimal marks or scratches. The fields, which are the flat areas around the design, should appear smooth and reflective. Any discoloration, spots, or wear can lower the grade, while bright original luster can dramatically raise it. This is why some collectors store their coins carefully from the moment they are found, protecting them from fingerprints, moisture, and friction. Another factor that can add intrigue is the possibility of mint errors. These are unintentional mistakes that occur during the striking process. Errors might include off-center strikes, doubled details, die cracks, or unusual planchet flaws. While not every error adds value, certain types can make a coin far more desirable to collectors who specialize in these oddities. A 2005D penny with a clear and dramatic error can stand out in a collection, even among more traditionally rare coins. Grading plays a massive role in determining worth. Professional grading services evaluate coins under strict standards, assigning them a numerical grade that reflects their condition. For modern coins like the 2005D Lincoln Cent, achieving a very high grade is difficult because even tiny imperfections can prevent a top score. Coins that have never circulated and were carefully stored from the start have the best chance of reaching these elite levels. The market for Lincoln Cents is driven by both nostalgia and challenge. Many collectors begin their journey with pennies because they are accessible and affordable. Over time, the pursuit of perfection takes over. Finding the best possible example of a common coin becomes a test of patience, knowledge, and luck. This is where modern pennies like the 2005D issue gain importance. They represent the difficulty of finding perfection in abundance. Historical context also adds to the appeal. The year 2005 sits in the early 21st century, a time of technological growth, economic shifts, and global change. Coins from this era are tangible reminders of everyday life during that period. Holding one connects you to millions of daily transactions, from grocery stores to gas stations, each penny playing a small but essential role. For YouTube viewers and coin enthusiasts alike, stories like this highlight why coin collecting is more than just numbers and metal. It is about discovery. It is about looking at something ordinary and asking a simple question: what if there is more here than meets the eye? That curiosity has driven collectors for generations, and it continues to do so today. Many people unknowingly spend coins that could be valuable simply because they never take the time to look closely. A magnifying glass, good lighting, and a basic understanding of what to look for can completely change how you see your spare change. The 2005D Lincoln Cent is a perfect example of a coin that rewards attention to detail. As interest in modern coinage grows, collectors are increasingly recognizing the importance of preserving high-quality examples from recent decades. What seems common today may become harder to find in pristine condition years from now. Coins get lost, damaged, or melted, reducing the number of top-grade survivors. This natural attrition is one reason why certain modern coins can achieve impressive values. The thrill comes from the possibility. That penny sitting quietly in a jar or drawer might not just be a cent. It might be a carefully struck, beautifully preserved piece of American minting history. The idea that such a small object can carry significant worth is what keeps collectors searching, examining, and learning. So the next time you come across a 2005D mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, do not dismiss it too quickly. Take a moment to study it. Look at Lincoln's portrait, the memorial, the shine of the surface, and the sharpness of the details. Imagine the journey it has taken from the Denver Mint to your hands. In the world of coin collecting, value is not always obvious at first glance. Sometimes it hides quietly, waiting for someone with curiosity and patience to uncover it. And when that discovery happens, it can be truly rewarding, because in the right condition and circumstances, this humble penny can be worth $11,993. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a simple brown penny, and realizing it carries a story far greater than its small size suggests. Today, we are diving deep into the fascinating world of the United States of America 2007 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny, a coin that many people overlook every single day. This humble cent may seem ordinary at first glance, but behind its familiar design lies history, symbolism, production details, and collector interest that can make it surprisingly valuable. The Lincoln 1-cent penny has been a constant companion in American life for more than a century. Introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, it was the first circulating United States coin to feature a real historical figure. By the time the 2007 edition was released, the Lincoln cent had already passed generations through countless hands, witnessing wars, economic changes, and the rise of modern America. Yet, even in the modern era, the Lincoln penny continued to capture the imagination of collectors and everyday citizens alike. The 2007 no-mint mark Lincoln 1-cent penny was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Coins produced at Philadelphia traditionally do not carry a mint mark, which is why this penny appears plain beneath the date. Many people mistakenly assume that no mint mark means no value, but that belief could not be further from the truth. In the world of coin collecting, condition, rarity, demand, and unique production characteristics can elevate even a common-looking coin into something truly special. When you look closely at the obverse of the 2007 Lincoln penny, you see the familiar right-facing portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This iconic design was originally created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and has become one of the most recognized images in American coinage. Lincoln's calm and thoughtful expression reflects the ideals of unity, strength, and perseverance. The inscriptions include "In God We Trust" along the top, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 2007 to the right. Though these details are consistent with many modern pennies, collectors carefully examine them for sharpness, clarity, and any unusual features. Turning the coin over reveals the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a design that was used from 1959 until 2008. This means the 2007 penny belongs to the final years of the Lincoln Memorial era, adding an extra layer of historical interest. The memorial itself is depicted with impressive detail, and if you look closely, you can even see the statue of Lincoln seated inside. Above the memorial are the words United States of America, and below it is the denomination 1 cent. Along the top edge, you will also find the phrase E pluribus unum, symbolizing unity from many. The metal composition of the 2007 Lincoln cent is another important aspect. Like most modern pennies, it is made primarily of zinc with a thin copper plating. This change in composition occurred in the early 1980s as copper prices rose, making earlier copper pennies more valuable for their metal content alone. However, the value of the 2007 penny is not about metal weight but about condition, collector demand, and scarcity in top grades. Condition plays a massive role in determining the worth of any coin, especially modern ones. Most 2007 pennies found in circulation show signs of wear, scratches, and dull surfaces from years of use. These circulated examples typically hold only face value. However, coins that were carefully preserved, never spent, or professionally graded can reach a completely different level of value. Collectors seek pennies with sharp details, full luster, clean surfaces, and no damage. Even tiny differences can separate an ordinary coin from a highly desirable one. Minting quality is another factor collectors consider. While millions of pennies were produced in 2007, not all were struck equally. Some coins show weak strikes, uneven surfaces, or minor imperfections, while others display crisp lines and strong detail. High-quality strikes are far less common and are often the coins that receive top grades from professional grading services. These top-graded examples are the ones that attract serious attention and higher prices. Errors and varieties also add excitement to the hunt for valuable pennies. Although the standard 2007 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is common, collectors are always on the lookout for unusual errors such as off-center strikes, double details, or planchet issues. Even small anomalies can turn a regular penny into a prized collectible. While not every coin will have an error, the possibility keeps collectors searching through rolls, jars, and old collections. The appeal of the 2007 Lincoln penny also lies in its place within American numismatic history. It represents a time just before major design changes. In 2009, the Lincoln cent underwent special redesigns to commemorate the bicentennial of Lincoln's birth, followed by the introduction of the Union Shield reverse in 2010. As a result, the 2007 Memorial Reverse Penny stands as one of the last of a long-running design that many Americans grew up with. Collectors often enjoyed building complete date and mint mark sets, and the 2007 No Mint Mark penny is an essential part of those collections. While it may be easy to find in circulated condition, finding one in pristine, near-perfect condition is much more challenging. This difficulty is what drives demand among advanced collectors who want the best possible example for their sets. Another reason this coin continues to attract interest is nostalgia. Many people remember using these pennies in everyday transactions, school fundraisers, or childhood piggy banks. That emotional connection can inspire people to start collecting, turning ordinary coins into cherished pieces of personal history. Over time, what starts as curiosity can evolve into a serious hobby or even an investment pursuit. Professional coin grading services have also played a major role in shaping the value of modern pennies. When a 2007 Lincoln cent is submitted for grading, experts examine it under magnification, evaluating strike quality, surface preservation, and overall eye appeal. Coins that achieve top grades are sealed in protective holders and assigned a certified grade. These graded examples are trusted by collectors and investors alike, often commanding much higher prices than ungraded coins. Market trends also influence coin values. As interest in modern coins grows, especially among new collectors, demand for high-grade examples increases. Online auctions, coin shows, and collector forums have made it easier than ever to buy, sell, and learn about coins. A single auction result can spark renewed interest in a specific date or type, bringing attention to coins that were once ignored. It is important to remember that coin collecting is not just about money. While values are exciting, the real joy comes from learning, searching, and appreciating the artistry and history behind each coin. The 2007 No Mint Mark Lincoln penny is a perfect example of how even a modern, everyday coin can hold significance far beyond its face value. If you have jars of pennies at home, it may be worth taking a closer look. Check the dates, examine the surfaces, and look for coins that appear especially clean or well struck. Even if you do not find a rare or high-grade example, you gain a deeper appreciation for the craftsmanship and legacy of American coinage. As we come to the end of this journey into the 2007 Lincoln 1-cent penny, it becomes clear that value is about more than just age or metal. It is about condition, history, collector demand, and the stories we attach to these small pieces of copper-colored zinc. A penny may seem insignificant, but under the right circumstances, it can become a remarkable collectible. And now, the moment many of you have been waiting for. In exceptional condition, with top-level preservation and professional grading, the value of this coin has been known to reach an astonishing amount of $9,266.